August wrap up, and I'm not even doing it that late. It's only like 3 days into September, 4 days into September. I don't know what's gonna be up though, but I'm doing it on time. My hair looks atrocious, but don't worry about that. So here's the August spread. As you can see, I finished a good amount of books. Oh my gosh, 9 of them? It's above average for me. There's my reading. I did a lot of reading. It was pretty good. And here's my unfinished Aurelium readathon pages. Quest page. I got up to 150, 60, 70 for my quests. And those were my review pages. As you can see, I tried to match my theme with my eyeshadow. Didn't really work out that well, but that's okay. I promise not all of these were Aurelium, so if you watch my Aurelium vlog, there are new information in here. There is new information in here about what I read. Without further ado, let's jump right in, because there are a lot of books that the first book I read was Dorothy Must Die by Daniel Page, and I have already unhauled this. I give it 3 stars. It was okay. I will say I was expecting something new and exciting out of the Land of Oz, and if I would have gotten something new and exciting out of the Land of Oz, I would have kept this book. But there was nothing new and exciting in here. In this one, we're following our main character, whose name I do not remember and I do not care enough to look up, but she has been transported to Oz via tornado, like everybody else. She finds herself there and finds out that Oz is in pure chaos. Munchkins are dying, monkeys are being controlled, nothing is good. So she makes her way to go see what's going on and finds out that Dorothy has taken over. Don't know how she got back there, but she did. And she has kidnapped Ozma, the rightful queen of Oz, and just made zombies out of everybody and controls everything. And our main character, whose name I still don't remember, decides she's going to kill Dorothy. Not really. She doesn't want to kill Dorothy. Everybody else has told her she needs to kill Dorothy. They're like, since you're from Kansas also, like everybody else, you're gonna save us. It's the general premise of it, but it doesn't add anything new and exciting. Like, if you watch The Wizard of Oz, the original one, that one's good, right? But then they did a revamp with one of the Franco brothers, I don't remember which one, and they added new stuff to it. And I really, really liked that they added new stuff to it. This one, nothing new. So, 3 stars, unhauled. Another book I'm going to unhaul is the next one, which is The Hollow, and this one is by Jessica Verde. I gave 2 stars to this. I do want to finish reading this series. I will continue reading this series. Also, same with Dorothy Must Die. I want to finish the series because I want to know what happens. It's not the worst book I've ever read. I will continue to read it. However, this was just following some teenage girl trying to figure out her teenage life and what she's doing after her best friend died. There's nothing spooky to it. She lives in Sleepy Hollow. That's about the spookiest thing. Until you get to maybe the last 50 pages and you find out half the town is a ghost that only she can see. But for the first 450 pages or something, insane amount. Yeah, there's like 500 pages, but 450 pages, it's just a girl living her life in grief. There's nothing interesting about it. I would like to read the next one just to see if there's more ghost action and more fun stuff, but it's just teenage drama, and it's not even good teenage drama. Anywho, so 2 stars. The next book I gave 4 stars to because it was way more exciting, and that was Batman Nightwalker. This one is by Mary Lou. This is the 2nd book in the DC Icons original quartet. There's more now. In this one we follow Bruce Wayne as a teenager, kind of figuring out his life, and this is like the first little sprinkle of he could be Batman, but without Batman. It's just his sprinkle of like justice, you know? Before he's Batman, before any decisions have been made, he is fighting the Nightwalker organization, I think. And in it he's done some stupid shit. He stole a company vehicle and he crashed it into some robbers who were robbing a bank or something and got in trouble for that. So he's got to do some time. And his time is volunteering, doing community service at Arkham Asylum. And in this he talks to a criminal. And that criminal has been there for months and has not spoken to anybody except for Bruce Wayne. And so he gets tied up in this whole Nightwalker business, and he helps the Gotham City police try to figure out what's happening and how to catch them and what their angle is, what they're trying to accomplish. And basically they're just killing billionaires and stealing all their money. And of course Bruce Wayne is on that list, even though he's only 17, 18 years old in this. So it's a good time. It's a really good time. That's why it's 4 stars. Really, really good. I very much enjoyed this. The next book I also gave 3 stars, but I will not be unhauling this one. I will be unhauling The Hollow, but I will not be unhauling Notes from My Captivity by Kathy Parks. This was very interesting. What a weird concept. Our main character, I don't remember her name, hang on, Edgerline, I can't say her name. Our main character goes on a trip with her stepfather to go to Siberia. They're going to go in the wilderness and they're going to find this family called Osnovs, I think that's what they're called, that ran away 30 years ago, that nobody thinks survived this long in the wilderness of Siberia because it's cold in the winter, and her stepfather's entire life work depends on them finding this family. And she's just going along because she's like, I need to do something before I enter my senior year. I think it was her senior year, before she does something. She's like, I just need to do this. I don't care that this family exists. I just want to go on an adventure. So she goes on this adventure. I'm not going to tell you what happens. She does find the Osnovs and they don't let her leave. But getting up to that point, it's an insane amount of surprises that I don't want to give away. And it's not even like all about finding this family. It's like, oh yeah, we're finding this family. She has to deal with this huge piece of grief of her dad dying and dealing with the teenager who accidentally ran him over with her car because she was drunk. And there's like a whole underlying story of that I didn't enjoy. Otherwise this would have gotten 4 stars, because I just was going in this expecting kidnapping and wilderness, and I got grief. There is like also a paranormal element to it, which was super cool. I very much enjoyed it, and that's why I will not be unhauling it. Well, I'll be unhauling a bunch of other stuff here. The next book I gave 5 stars to, 4 stars to. I gave 4 stars to, and it is Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This was super cute, super fun. I definitely needed a romance novel, and a historical romance nonetheless was just the perfect, just sprinkle it in there, you know? This was so fun. I read, I think, the first half of it physically, and then I listened to the audiobook for the rest of it, and it was just super fun. About our main character, oh my gosh, Annabelle Archer, who is going to Oxford University, and the only reason she's going there and is getting her scholarships is because she is helping with the women's movement, and in her process meets this duke who has been divorced and is just supporting the wrong side, and she uses everything in her arsenal to try not to fall in love with him, but also to get him over to their side. And it's super fun and super cute, and it's just lighthearted and exactly what I needed after being stuck in Siberia winter. Almost winter. Siberia. Yeah, you know? It was good. The next book I did give 5 stars to, and that is The Wicked King by Holly Black. This was the perfect middle book. I have never experienced such a middle book that was never had middle book syndrome. This is like a whole adventure. Carden and Jude, the best. I don't even care that there's not that much romance in here. I was expecting more romance than the first one. People told me there was more romance, but there's not really. It's just a little bit. It's just a grain of salt in there of romance. But the more exciting part of this is the plotting and the twists and turns and the betrayals. There's so many betrayals. Oh my god, please read this series. So good. The next book is my first and only current 1 star of the year. And I will tell you right now, none of you are going to want to read this. If it's on your TBR, take it off. The Goddess Test by Amy Carter. If I could give this 0 stars, I would have, but I needed to give it something so that you all know how bad it is. Our main character in here, Kate, her mother is dying. Her life isn't going the way she planned. She's moving to Eden to help her mother out. And while she's here, some girl that tries to play a prank on her. What's her name? I don't remember her name. Starts with an A. Ava. Ava tries to pull a prank on her, and she ends up hitting her head and dying. And so, in order to save her life, she makes a deal with this dude Henry, who happens to be the Lord of the Underworld, and says, "You're gonna stay with me for 6 months out of the year," just like Persephone did, because Persephone decided to fall in love with a mortal and give up her immortality, and she left me. I'm gonna tell you, every character in here is a Greek god. None of them follow the proper personalities. Calliope is in love with Henry, and Calliope is Hera. Hera is the goddess of marriage. And that is just one. This is a tip of the iceberg of Greek god and goddesses atrocities. The only personality that Poseidon has is he runs the horse stable. don't read this. I'm unhauling it. As soon as I'm done this video, I'm gonna go walk it over to the book library down the street. Okay? Goodbye. Don't read it. Take it off. We're not doing that anymore, okay? It was absolute trash. Anywho, on to bigger and better things. I read The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. Definitely pronounced that wrong. Paulo. Oh my gosh. I can't read. This is that famous one that everybody's heard about, filled with spirituality and life journeys, and I gave it 4 stars because it was a really good story and I very much enjoyed the topics that were discussed in here, but I don't feel like I gained anything out of it. Sorry. I feel like if I read it again in the future at a better time, maybe I'll gain something out of it, but currently did not gain anything out of it. Not to mention I'm not that spiritually Jesus, so maybe that's fine. I don't know. We'll find out. It was good though, and I do recommend it, but it's not my mojo. And last but certainly not least, I reread for the 3rd time A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Dun dun dun. 5 stars, obviously. This is the first time I've actually physically read this book instead of listening to the audiobook, because I usually am too impatient and I need to read it as fast as possible, which is why I listen to the audiobook. But I physically read it, took my time, took way too long, and it was still as good as it is when I listen to the audiobook. Oh, this is my favorite book of all time. I will say that. One of them. Anyways, so that's what I read. I read enough to finish off my classes. I finished both the O and the Q for alchemy. This is for Aurelium, just to give you guys the update. And I finished the O and the Q for restoration. So for alchemy, it was Dorothy Must Die and The Alchemist, which I wrote the alchemy. Oops. And then for restoration, it was the Hollow and the Goddess test that I read. So out of everything, I am quite literally, I've already unhauled Dorothy Must Die, and I will be unhauling these 2, as well as I have the 2nd Goddess test book, and I'm getting rid of that too as well. And then for quest books, I read Batman for a book with a movie adaptation. I read Bringing Down the Duke for a historical fiction, and I read Notes from My Captivity for a shrubbery on the cover because there's trees. There was only 3 books that I didn't read for Aurelium, but that was pretty good. I think if like reading, I know there's 2 books that I didn't read for it. Oh, anyways, so Aurelium was a success. August was a success. After the terrible June and July that I had, it was just a really good time, and it's really setting me up for my reading 30 books in 30 days in September. And when I do my reading books in 30 days, I truly, this is just a little tidbit, I truly think that I could read more if I really tried. I just sometimes feel like I don't try enough, you know? Anywho, my favorite book from August, other than my favorite book of all time, was The Wicked King. I will say that. Let me know what your favorite book was in August, if you remember, because I don't know when this video will be up. I would love to have that conversation with you, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!